A father and son are dead in Burlington after an early morning call to police, and the province's police watchdog is now investigating. Our crime analyst Steve Ryan is live at the scene with the latest.
Killed in what police say was an unprovoked stabbing in Pickering last week, the 83-year-old victim has officially been identified. We're going to have a statement from the family coming up.
And the weather's heating up and school will be out for the summer soon. The city of Toronto unveiling its summer safety plan aimed at tackling youth violence. We'll get you those details coming up.
And there may be light at the end of the tunnel for the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. Premier Doug Ford gives us a possible opening date. We're going to hear from him in minutes.
You're watching Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Thanks for joining us and welcome to Live at 5. We are learning more about the two men who died in a Burlington home overnight.
Neighbors confirmed to CTV News they are Mauro Giannicaro, who is in his 50s, and his 28-year-old son, Luciano. They had lived in the home on Cornerstone Drive for more than 14 years. And the province's police watchdog is now probing the incident. Let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's outside of the home near Dundas and Appleby Line. Steve.
Okay, we are having trouble hearing Steve. We're going to make sure his audio is working. We'll check back in with him as soon as we can. In the meantime, an elderly woman murdered outside of her home in Pickering has now been identified as her family thanks the community for an outpouring of support.
Yeah, for more of our continuing coverage on this story, we're now joined live by CP24's Melissa Duggan, who's on Lynn Heights Drive. Melissa.
Yeah, Lena and Bakari, official word just coming today from Durham Police confirming the identity of the woman killed in this shocking stabbing here in Pickering last week. Her name, Eleanor Doney. She was 83 years old. Police say she was out gardening outside of her home just behind me here last Thursday at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's when she was approached by an unknown male and stabbed multiple times. She was rushed to a trauma center, but later she did die of her injuries. A 14-year-old boy from Pickering has been charged with first-degree murder. We are hearing from Doney's family today. They're sharing a statement saying, "We want to express our gratitude to the community for the outpouring of love and support during this difficult time. We especially want to thank the first responders for all their efforts. We take comfort in the fact that she was a woman of strong Christian faith." Neighbors here say that they're describing the victim as a fantastic lady and that she was someone who was a wonderful neighbor to have, calling her a friendly retired kindergarten teacher. And they also say that she was taking care of her husband who was ill. Police have also extended their sincere gratitude for the cooperation of the community in providing any information and video at this time. Now, the 14-year-old suspect in this case cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. Investigators are also reminding the public that it's illegal to post photos or share identifying information about young offenders. Now, the suspect in this case is due to appear in court later this month, and police are saying that they continue to appeal for any information. Even if someone might think that the details they have are insignificant, Durham Police, they want to know what people know. So please reach out to them or to Crime Stoppers. Back to you.
In Pickering, with more reaction to last week's tragedy. Melissa, thanks so much. Over in Peel, police say two men have been arrested in British Columbia in connection with the murder of a man in Mississauga last month.
Police say that an intensive investigation led them to Delta, BC. That's where they arrested Aman and Digvijay, both 21 years old. They are charged with first-degree murder in the death of 51-year-old Harjit Datta from Brampton. Well, police say that Datta was killed in a targeted shooting in a parking lot near Dixie and Derry Roads just before noon, May 14th. The suspects fled in a stolen vehicle, which was recovered shortly after.
Peel police have also arrested a man following a violent assault in Mississauga last month. They allege the victim went to the suspect's home on May 6th after being contacted for cleaning services, but was then sexually assaulted and threatened. 27-year-old Ravinder Daliawal, we're going to get you a picture of him now, faces several charges, including sexual assault and forcible confinement. Investigators are concerned there may be other victims, and they're urging anybody with information to come forward.
Well, charges have been laid in an attempted armed carjacking in Ajax.
Foot pursuit westbound on the south side of the school.
And Durham police sharing this footage. This shows an officer chasing the suspect near Salem and Williamson Drive, before eventually tackling them to the ground and then taking them into custody. They were arrested in connection with an incident Sunday afternoon. That's when police say a suspect tried to force a person from their vehicle as they were parked in a driveway. 19-year-old Nadish Mathisuddin is facing several charges, including robbery.
A man has been arrested after multiple women were assaulted at Union Station, and police suspect hate was the motivation.
23-year-old Kevin Thomas Delgado Pena is facing 10 counts of assault. According to investigators, several women reported being assaulted by a man yesterday morning, so their injuries are non-life-threatening. And police allege the man also made anti-female comments after his arrest, and police believe there may be other victims.
Well, school's almost out in the summer, right around the corner. And with that, Toronto's mayor and police chief have now unveiled a plan to keep families in the city safe. It comes after a rise in gun violence last year, much of it involving and impacting young people.
Let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman, who was on hand for today's announcement and continues our coverage from Nathan Phillips Square. Beatrice.
Carolina, so far, the chief saying many of the crime indicators are down this year compared to last year. But generally, we do see an uptick in crime in the summer. Why? School's out. We generally see more people out and about. And youth, for those who, are kind of in precarious circumstances, when they don't have school, they don't have direction. And that's when certainly the situation can become a little bit more challenging. And so today we heard from the mayor, the police chief, and other community stakeholders, but the need to work together to engage youth. So the city's investing $5 million more in anti-violence prevention programs. That's on top of funding that was previously announced for the SafeTO program. And what this is going to do is it's going to engage some 3,000 young people in summer programs throughout the next few months. And it's also going to increase youth drop-in programs by about 50% through the summer months. The idea being here, if you give kids a place to go, rec centers, mentorship programs, day camps, and possibility of employment, it's going to deter them from choosing a life of crime and violence. And as you very accurately point out, there has been a lot of crime lately with young people involved, early teens, right through the late teens. And so here's a bit of what we heard from Mayor Olivia Chow.
Recreation programs, things for young people to do. 140 youth and family programs, summer camps run by TCHC, and we are expanding access to safe neighborhood space, coordinating all the activities together with the police and all the community agencies, increasing youth engagement. Our goal is simple: to connect Toronto's young people and their families to opportunities to make sure summer is a safe, vibrant, positive experience for everyone.
The man on your screen right now, Delroy George Parks, gunned down a year ago yesterday in a mass shooting outside of North Albion Collegiate Institute. He was just hanging out with his buddies after playing soccer earlier that evening. He was amongst 5 people shot. He and another man lost their lives in that shooting. And just as troubling as the situation was, even more troubling that one of the 2 accused, and by the way, they're accused of firing some 50 bullets in total, one of the 2 accused, just 14 years old. And so today, George Parks' daughter, Jaden, who's been an advocate of anti-gun violence ever since, spoke today about how her and her family reconciled the fact that a young person was allegedly involved in her father's murder.
It was heavy, I'll be honest, and it was something that didn't sit right with me. It was hard because they did such a horrible thing, but they're also a child, and that's where I'm internally battling myself where, how does a child do this? How can I be mad at a kid who probably didn't know right from wrong, probably didn't know another choice, but also they took my father away from me.
So over the last year, Jaden's been having meetings with the mayor, with other advocates, with other city officials, asking for more to be done to target youth specifically, to stray them away from making the wrong choices in life. Back to you.
Okay, continuing our live coverage from Nathan Phillips Square, there was CP24's Beatrice Vaisman. Right now it's 5:10, 26 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, we'll go back to Burlington for an update on an SIU investigation after 2 men died inside a home. We'll also tell you what we're learning about the victims.
Where are we going?
Who's the driver?
There she is. The rookie who thinks she can take down the Southwest Al Capone.
Hold it. Oh, I got you. You don't get to where Saxton is without leaving a trail of bodies.
Sax didn't kill my brother.
What if he did?
I'll kill him myself. She's a problem.
I'm a bee, and I bumbled my way into your car.
Buzz.
Oh, man. And if you don't have the right auto insurance coverage, paying for this could really sting. So get Allstate.
These words matter when you've been seriously hurt in an accident. At Sokoloff Personal Injury Lawyers, we're there every step of the way. So call for your free consultation.
Don't put it off. Call Sokoloff.
Check this out. The phone is the key.
Like you, the redesigned Tucson doesn't stop. You got places to go and stories to tell.
Sleeping like a baby. Thank goodness for baby mode.
And with more than 9 out of 10 Tucsons sold in the last decade still on the road, WA keeps you going.
CONCACAF Gold Cup on TSN.
Back to our top story now. The province's police watchdog is probing an incident at a home in Burlington that left 2 men dead.
Right now, let's go back live to our CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's outside the home near Dundas and Appleby line. Steve?
Yeah, Bakari and Lena. So the 2 deceased have been identified as Mauro Giannacaro and his 28-year-old son, Luciano. The address is on Cornerstone Drive in Burlington. And according to the Special Investigations Unit, Halton Police received a 911 call regarding unknown trouble at this address at 12:30 this morning. 7 officers responded. When they gained entry into the home, they discovered the lifeless body of the father, the man in his 50s, and then a short distance away in the home was the 28-year-old son. According to the Special Investigations Unit, this young man had sustained what appeared to be a self-inflicted edged weapon wound to his neck. There was a knife at the scene that was seized and believed to be used in this occurrence. And when the police went to arrest this 28-year-old, he died at the scene as well. So now this is a dual investigation. The death of the father is being investigated by Halton Region investigators, and the death of the 28-year-old falls under the mandate of the Special Investigations Unit. Of course, they invoke their mandate whenever there is serious bodily harm or death as a result of an interaction with the police. The job of the SIU will be to critique the actions of the police to see if they had any involvement in the death of this 28-year-old. Here is reaction from the Special Investigations Unit that we got earlier today and from neighbors as well. Let's listen to both.
There were a number of 911 calls that were placed from a residence on Cornerstone Drive in Burlington. And following that, Halton Police, they responded to a household and they saw a man fleeing upstairs in the residence. And at that time, the man was found with a serious self-inflicted wound. There was an arrest that was attempted to be made, and then following that, there were life-saving measures that were attempted. Following that, EMS was called, and they responded to the scene. Also in the course of that, another individual, a man, was located deceased in the residence.
We went to bed probably around 11:30, and around 12:30, we heard yelling and screaming, but Didn't get up to check it out just because, I mean, that's a regular occurrence since 2016, since I've been living here.
You've heard what sounds like fights coming from this home before?
Oh yeah, I used to, when I first moved in, because it's like so bad and so ridiculous, I used to record videos of it.
Yeah, more than one neighbor has advised us today, guys, that there has been a regular occurrence of domestic disturbances involving the 28-year-old and his family at this address. And lastly, the SIU has said that of the 7 responding officers, 5 have been designated as witness officers, 2 have been designated as subject officers. So that certainly suggests to me that the subject officers would be the 2 officers that went to arrest the 28-year-old prior to him passing. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Steve Ryan, live in Burlington for us this hour. Thank you, Steve. The Liberals are moving more than 4,000 amendments on the Ford government's controversial Bill 5, which has faced widespread pushback from First Nations and environmental groups.
The Liberals say that the procedural move is a last-ditch effort to get the bill scrapped entirely, with committee meeting today to vote on alterations to the bill. So each of the 4,000 Liberal amendments need to be voted on, which could prevent the province from getting to its own amendment. Bill 5 will move to the House for a vote tomorrow, regardless of how many amendments have been passed, including ones from the Ford government.
We're demonstrating that it not only gives power over projects like the Dresden Dump, Clean Water Act, but many other acts. It just completely overrides the rule of law and local democracy. And that's why we're here showing 4,000 different ways how this legislation offends the rule of law and must be walked back.
I feel like I'm just sitting like that, and that's it. And that's the way the committee works, and that's the way this government is passing this bill, without the proper processes in place. And they're trampling. Again, I keep on saying this, on the rights of the people that live on the homelands where we live.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford continues to say that Bill 5 is going to be beneficial for First Nations communities.
This is an opportunity for First Nations, Indigenous people to have an opportunity and have equity partnership in anything we do. We're the only government that's put $3 billion forward for their equity partnership in any deals that we make up there. And even during the campaign, I repeated it 1,000 times, nothing happens without the consultation with the First Nations communities.
Bill 5, as currently constructed, would give the government power to suspend provincial and municipal laws for chosen projects in areas deemed to have economic importance.
Well, the long-delayed Eglinton Crosstown, it could start operating in September.
Construction on the LRT began back in 2011, and it was initially slated to be completed in 2020. It's been plagued by delays and cost overruns that are now more than $1 billion. The route, again, it's been over $1 billion over budget. Metrolinx has previously said the public would be given 3 months' notice before the line opens. Premier Ford saying today the line is on track to open in September.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing some positive things about the Eglinton, track, and hopefully we'll be handing it over in the next couple of weeks to the TTC, and they'll be doing their trial runs and thank God. That's all I got to say about that project.
Well, the LRT spans a 19-kilometer route from Mount Dennis, that's in the west, to Kennedy Road in the east.
It's now 5:18, 28 degrees, really warming up in the city. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order later today, doubling his steel and aluminum tariffs. We're going to have reaction next.
The White House says U.S. President Donald Trump will sign an executive order doubling steel and aluminum tariffs today.
Does he still intend to double them tomorrow morning?
The president will be signing that executive order today, and steel and aluminum tariffs will be going to 50%, yes.
It's going to change or it's going to be suspended?
He made that announcement in Pennsylvania, and he plans to deliver on that promise to Pennsylvanians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're just getting word that U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a proclamation doubling the tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, just as you mentioned. So along with that right now, let's go to CP24's Phil Perkins, who's joining us live from the newsroom. Phil.
Hey there, Bakari and Lena. Yeah, we're waiting for that. Obviously, there's going to be cameras inside the Oval Office when President Trump signs this executive order doubling the tariffs, so from 25% to 50% on steel and aluminum imports into the states. And as I mentioned to Jamie Goodfriend last half hour, Donald Trump obviously likes to go off script. So it'll be interesting to see what questions he takes and what he has to say about that. Now, reading up, hearing how steel and aluminum companies here in Canada have been dealing with the 25% tariffs, they're really just treading water as we speak. Doubling that will be a very different situation. We have heard from the National Director of the United Steelworkers Union, Marty Warren. He said that, quote, some places are on the verge of collapse already. This is with the 25% tariffs. 50% will be something entirely different. Canada is the largest aluminum supplier to America. $15.9 billion worth of aluminum is sent to the states. This, according to the United Steelworkers Union. 65% of Canadian steel goes to the U.S. So it would be a massive hit if suddenly American companies picking up Canadian steel and aluminum will suddenly have to pay double the amount of tariffs. They simply would just not purchase it, and Canada would have to figure out some other trading partner to kind of fix that gap. Now, the Minister of Canada-U.S. Relations, that is his sole job right now, Dominic LeBlanc. Here's what he had to say about the upcoming tariffs.
Every time we sit down with Secretary Lutton and his officials, we deepen our understanding in terms of the concerns they have around many of these issues. And it's an opportunity for us also to explain to them our firm position in terms of these tariffs being negative for the Canadian economy and Canadian workers, but also for the United States. Mr. Lutnick listens very carefully. He takes notes. He asks questions. We do the same thing. And every time we have these conversations, I think we deepen our understanding of each other's positions.
And now we're also hearing from border areas in southern Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie, their mayor saying that Algoma Steel, which is a big employer in the area, it would be a massive hit to that community if once this executive order is written. I've reached out to Andrew Horvath, the mayor of Hamilton. Of course, Stelco has been a massive employer there for generations. Right now, those steel mills has been reduced to just a couple hundred people, maybe a couple thousand people working there. Now, if tariffs were to be doubled, that would also hit them pretty hard. So I've reached out to the mayor, try to get a reaction from her. If not this hour, this half hour, hopefully at some point tonight. So stay tuned to CP24. Back to you guys.
All right. We'll check back in soon. Thanks, Phil. 524, 28 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And a judge has approved the $30 million deal that'll give Canadian Tire the rights to many of Hudson's Bay trademarks. More on this next. Well, Canadian Tire's purchase of several Hudson's Bay trademarks will go ahead.
An Ontario judge approved the $30 million deal today. It gives Canadian Tire rights to the Bay name, its coat of arms, and the iconic stripes. The agreement also includes the Bay's distinctly home brand, Hudson North apparel line, and trademarks like Bay Days. The court approval comes just days after Hudson's Bay closed all of its stores after filing for creditor protection earlier this year. Canadian Tire beat out a dozen other bidders who were looking to buy the Bay's intellectual property.
Well, Canadian Tire is also getting set to sell off its Helly Hansen clothing brand for $1.3 billion to Contour Brands, whose brands include Wrangler, Lee Jeans, and Rock & Republic. And this comes as Canadian Tire needs to free up some money to buy HBC's assets.
Retail analyst Doug Stevens joined us with more on this deal.
On the one hand, it is terribly sad and tragic to see a company that has this sort of historical significance to the country go by the wayside. But on the bright side, whatever intellectual property and brand assets the company had up for grabs have landed back in the hands of another Canadian company. So I guess that's good fortune.
Right now, it's 5:28, 28 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Police have now identified the elderly woman fatally stabbed while gardening outside her home in Pickering last week as 83-year-old Eleanor Doney. Her family releasing a statement. We'll share that with you coming up.
This is the story of Gavin, an amateur topiarist who became such a viral sensation that he changed careers and never looked back. Another decision he didn't second guess? Getting Manulife Cover Me health and dental insurance. Prescription allergy pills? Covered. Physiotherapy after a tough day of shrubbery? Covered. With comprehensive coverage from Manulife Cover Me, you can get on with whatever life looks like. Call 1-877-COVER-ME or visit coverme.com to get a quote today.
Still up at 2 a.m. again? Tonight, try Pure Z's All Night to help increase total sleep time. Unlike some other sleep aids, our extended release melatonin slowly releases up to 6 hours. ZzzQuil Pure Z's All Night. Fall asleep, wake refreshed.
There's over 8,000 hours in a year, 168 hours in a week, but only 96 hours to unlock incredible savings this weekend at The Brick. Get up to 40% off select mattresses and free local delivery. Get up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, and recliners. Up to 30% off dining furniture. Save the tax when you buy 2 or more major kitchen appliances. And this 55-inch 4K smart TV is only $549. The Brick, saving you more.
Hey, hon, what's up?
You're not gonna believe it.
What's going on?
We won.
Won what?
We won Lotto 649.
We actually won?
We actually won.
A father and son are dead in Burlington after an early morning call to police. Now the province's police watchdog is investigating. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan is live at the scene with the latest.
Killed in what police say was an unprovoked stabbing in Pickering last week. The 83-year-old victim has now officially been identified. We're going to have a statement from the family coming up.
And the weather's heating up. School's going to be out for summer soon. The City of Toronto unveils its summer safety plan aimed at tackling youth violence. We're going to tell you details coming up.
And there may be light at the end of the tunnel for the Eglinton Crosstown LRT. Premier Doug Ford gives us a possible opening date. We're going to hear from him in minutes.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lena Latifat.
And I'm Bakari Savage. We're learning more about the 2 men who died in a Burlington home overnight.
Neighbors confirmed to CTV News they are Mauro Genacaro, who is in his 50s, and his 28-year-old son, Luciano. They had lived in the home on Cornerstone Drive for more than 14 years. The province's police watchdog now probing the incident. Let's go right to our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's outside that home near Dundas and Appleby line tonight. Steve.
Yeah, Aline and Bakari, the SIU tell us that the Halton police received a 911 call at 12:30 this morning regarding unknown trouble. 7 officers responded to the call. Once they gained entry into the home, they discovered the lifeless body of the man in his 50s, and a short distance away was the 28-year-old son. The SIU say that the son has sustained what appeared to be a self-inflicted edged weapon wound to his neck, and as the police went to arrest him, he subsequently passed as a result of his injuries. We are told that there was a knife located at the scene, and it is believed to be the weapon used. So as a result of the 2 deaths, there are 2 separate investigations going on. One is being conducted by the Halton Regional Police. They will investigate the death of the man in his 50s, and because there was a death after an interaction with the police, that is a mandate, of course, of the Special Investigations Unit, so they will critique the actions of the officers to make sure that the officers acted well within the law, and had they had something to do with the death or not will be part of the Special Investigations Unit's investigation. We did hear from the SIU earlier on, and we got reaction from a neighbor as well, and here's what we were told. Let's listen.
Early information that's been provided to us is that there was a struggle between the male upstairs with police, and there would have been a brief interaction and conducted an energy weapon. And then there was also the self-inflicted wound suffered by this individual. Life-saving measures that were attempted to be provided. EMS called, they came, and that's sort of the information that I have right now.
All the neighbors are, I'm guessing, not surprised by what's happened here, but I don't know if anyone actually called the police themselves. I feel like anytime the police showed up, it was because the husband did, hoping to de-escalate the situation.
Now, several neighbors have told us that this family at this home have had a history of repeated domestic disturbances, so much so that some of the neighbors have taken upon themselves to videotape and record the goings-on over the past few months. The SIU has said that of the 7 officers that responded, 5 are considered witness officers and 2 officers are designated as subject officers. I'll send it back to you guys.
Okay, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan live in Burlington. Steve, thank you. An elderly woman murdered outside of her home in Pickering has been identified as her family thanks the community for support.
For more on this, we're joined live by CP24's Melissa Duggan on Lynn Heights Drive. And this is something that's shaken the community where you are tonight, Melissa.
It certainly has, Lena and Bakari, and a generous statement is coming from the victim's family today, just as Durham police officially confirmed the identity of the woman who was killed in that shocking, fatal stabbing just outside of her home. Her name is Eleanor Downey. She was 83 years old. Outside of her home right now, there are flowers, mementos left behind by caring neighbors, and it was here where Durham police say Downey was gardening outside of her home on Lynn Heights Drive last Thursday at around 3 in the afternoon when she was approached by an unknown male and stabbed multiple times. She was rushed to a trauma center and later died of her injuries. A 14-year-old boy from Pickering has been charged with first-degree murder. I want to share that statement that we are getting from Downey's family. They're saying, we want to express our gratitude to the community for the outpouring of love and support during this difficult time. We especially want to thank the first responders for all of their efforts. We take comfort in the fact that she was a woman of strong Christian faith. Now, neighbors of the victim say they're shaken, describing Downey as a friendly, retired kindergarten teacher. Police, they have also extended their sincere gratitude for the cooperation they have said they've received from community members here. Now, the 14-year-old suspect cannot be identified due to the Youth Criminal Justice Act. Investigators, they're also reminding the public not to share photos of this suspect, saying that is not legal. The suspect is scheduled to appear in court later this month. And anyone who has any information about this case, police saying even if you think that it is something insignificant, they want to know what you have to share. So reach out to them, reach out to Crime Stoppers. Back to you, Lena Makari.
Okay, CP24's Melissa Duggan. Thank you. School's almost out. Summer's right around the corner. And with that, Toronto's mayor and police chief, they've now unveiled a plan to keep families in the city safe.
Yeah, it comes after a rise in gun violence last year, much of it involving and impacting young people. For all the details, let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Faisman, who was on hand for that announcement today. Beatrice.
Lena Bakari, good afternoon. $5 million more from the city going towards these youth engagement programs. The reason is to try to find ways to keep kids busy during the summer months when they're out of school, doing things like rec programs and day camps and mentorship programs and even possible employment opportunities in order to deter them from choosing a life of crime and violence. Chief Demke today on hand for the announcement. He was also talking about the fact that crime indicators are down so far this year, but generally there is a spike that comes in the summer months. There's just more people outside, more volume of people, of students out on the streets, and often we do see crimes starting to tick up in the nice weather. The chief today talking about the fact that neighborhood community officers play a pivotal role when it comes to community engagement as well, and they will this summer as part of this summer safety plan as well. These officers will be engaging in various activities like soccer and movie nights. And we know, I know from covering crime in various communities around the city how important these officers are. They are the ones who know people's names in communities. They know their backstories. They also are the ones often who are the trusted officers who get tips when something goes horribly wrong in a community. And so here's a bit of what Chief Demke had to say about this summer safety plan and how the police will be involved.
Over the summer, in collaboration with the city, our neighborhood community officers will be leading a series of activities ranging from education and sports to community building. Whether it's soccer in 31 Division, movie nights in my home division, 11 Division, or tutoring sessions and many other activities across the city, these moments will offer opportunities for kids to connect with police officers, learn, and to have fun.
It was a year ago yesterday, actually, that I watched the importance of these neighborhood community officers when there was a mass shooting outside of North Albion Collegiate Institute. The man you saw on your screen, Delroy George Parks, gunned down brutally. A second man also lost his life. 5 people in total shot. This was just a group of guys innocently hanging out after playing soccer when just a horrific scene of violence unfolded. There was 2 accused, both of them accused of firing some 50 bullets in total. And very disturbing, the fact that one of the accused in George Parks' murder is just a 14-year-old boy. Today, I spoke to George Parks' daughter, who's trying to reconcile that. And here's how she tried.
There's something that these children are missing. I don't know if it's within the home. I don't know if it's within the community or what it is, but they're lacking something. And they need people to watch them and support them. There shouldn't be a reason why a 14-year-old is unattended for such a length of time that he can go and get a gun and kill people. There is something missing there, and we need to figure out what is missing and what they need.
And a way to bridge that gap as well. So that's what the city's initiative is all about. This strategy this summer, Lena and Bakari will engage some 3,000 youth in different pockets of the city in summer programs, and it'll increase drop-in programs throughout the summer as well for kids by about 50%, all in an effort to try to deter them from crime and violence. Back to you.
All right, Beatrice Baseman live at Nathan Phillips Square. Thanks so much, Beatrice. It's now 5:40, 28 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, the long-delayed Eglinton Crosstown LRT, it could soon be up and running, at least according to the Premier. We're going to tell you the update that Doug Ford shared. That's next.
Well, Humber River Hospital says shoddy construction has put patient safety at risk in a new $100 million lawsuit.
It claims recent work has left floors uneven or bubbling in nearly every wing of the hospital. So the hospital is suing the consortium contracted to build and maintain the facility. Construction began in 2011. The deal was a public-private partnership with Plenary Healthcare. Well, CTV News has learned that Plenary is also contracted by the province to build, design, and operate aspects of the Ontario line.
The long-delayed Eglinton Crosstown could finally start operating in September.
Okay, so let's take a step back. Construction on the LRT began in 2011. It was initially slated to be completed in 2020. It's been plagued by delays and cost overruns that are now more than $1 billion. And with that, Metrolinx has previously said that the public would be given 3 months' notice before the line opens. Premier Ford said today that the line is on track to open in September.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing some positive things about the Eglinton, track, and hopefully we'll be handing it over in the next couple of weeks to the TTC, and they'll be doing their trial runs, and thank God. That's all I got to say about that project.
So Doug Ford says, thank God. And if you're wondering what Mayor Chow has to say about this, she did retweet a story about it with the fingers crossed emoji. So do with that what you will. The LRT spans a 19-kilometer route from Mount Dennis in the west to Kennedy Road in the east.
Well, fire season is ramping up in British Columbia as the province warns of hot, dry, and windy conditions in the forecast.
The Summit Lake fire has forced the closure of the Alaska Highway west of Fort Nelson. Evacuation alerts have been issued along the highway, with residents warned to be prepared to leave at a moment's notice. There are 70 active fires burning across BC, with just over half classified as out of control. The province's wildfire service says 56 blazes were caused by lightning. 5 are the result of human activity.
And wildfires in Alberta are disrupting the oil and gas industry. 3 companies, including Cenovus, have had to stop production and move their workers to safety as fire in northern Alberta grows. More than 4,600 people have been displaced in the province. In central Alberta, people who were forced out of Yellowhead County last week, they are expected to be allowed to return home today.
In Saskatchewan, it's becoming challenging to find places to stay for those displaced by the fires. People in La Ronge are being told to leave for their safety, and that brings the number of people displaced in Saskatchewan to more than 12,000. That number may go up as residents of Candle Lake may soon be ordered out.
And wildfires are forcing more than 17,000 people from their homes in the northern part of Manitoba. Some are staying in emergency shelters in Winnipeg. More than 200 evacuees have been sent to hotels as far away as Niagara Falls, and even more people are heading there.
Canadian Red Cross Vice President for Manitoba, Luke Mullender, says finding space to house all of those who are fleeing these wildfires, that is still a major challenge.
There's very limited hotel space. So for us, we're working as hard as we can with our partners, Indigenous Services Canada, and our First Nation communities that we're trying to support and to collaborate and identify any spaces that become available right away, and then also working to secure spaces that will become available, in a few days, right? So that folks that do have to rest in the congregate shelters, we can identify opportunities for them to leave.
And the city of Barrie is getting ready to accommodate 400 evacuees as wildfires worsen in northwestern Ontario. And this is the first phase of the evacuation of the Wibigwe First Nation, which is about 540 kilometers north of Thunder Bay. Elders, children, and those with medical conditions are being prioritized. Evacuees who arrive in Barrie will be given a hotel room. An Indigenous Emergency Response Center will coordinate on-site supports for those affected. So the MNR says the fire hazard is high to extreme across most of the Northwest region.
Obviously, we got to wait to see what happens with the wildfires, what happens on the ground up north, and we don't want to send folks back up to up there until the services are really up and running back in their communities. So obviously, there's great friendships and relationships that have been built over the years. This is not the first time the city of Barrie has been asked to step up, and certainly we do so with pride and with compassion. So. We will work with these folks as long as they need.
And Global Medic is once again getting involved in the fire relief efforts. The Toronto-based disaster response organization sending more fire skids to the hardest hit provinces. The skids, they're equipped with a 1,000-liter tank, a pump, and a hose, and they can be placed on the back of a pickup truck or emergency response truck, turning them into firefighting vehicles. Executive Director Rahul Singh joined us with more.
We know there's so many more firefighters out there than there are apparatus. There's more people than there are trucks. And when the communities are threatened, everybody wants to be deployed and everybody wants to be involved. Can you just imagine if they don't have the equipment to do it? So what we're providing is a tank mounted on a skid that's, welded together by aluminum, and there's a pump and hose that goes in a pickup truck. Let's face it, there's a lot of pickup trucks out there. And it turns that pickup truck into a mini fire truck. So we're providing those skid units out to get more firefighters deployed.
And Global Medic is currently sending 7 fire skid units from Edmonton to Saskatoon. That's where they'll then be delivered to northern Saskatchewan to help fight fast-moving fires.
It's 5:48, 28 degrees now. You're watching Live at 5.
U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a proclamation to double his steel and aluminum tariffs. We have a reaction next.
Welcome back. We are following developing news from the White House, where U.S. President Donald Trump has just issued a proclamation to double steel and aluminum tariffs as of tomorrow.
Okay, let's go to the newsroom. This is where we join CP24's Phil Perkins live with reaction. Phil.
Yeah, but currently a little bit more content from the White House right now on their X account. They released several tweets as well as a more legalese type explanation as to what exactly happened just now. In the post, it said President Trump just signed a proclamation raising tariffs on steel and aluminum imports by 50% to protect U.S. steel and national security. And in all caps, says the golden age is here. It goes on to say President Trump says, quote, the increased tariffs will more effectively counter foreign countries that continue to offload low-priced excess steel and aluminum in the United States market. Now, this will kick in at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday. The one country that is not going to be affected by this is the United Kingdom. It'll still be dealing with a 25% tariff. As for Canada, their biggest partner when it comes to steel and aluminum is going to be dealing with this 50% tariff. We've given $15.9 billion worth of aluminum to the U.S. This is according to the United Steel Workers Union. 65% of Canadian steel goes to America, and so it's going to for sure have reverberations on this side of the border, as well as to Americans as well who buy vehicles or anything made out of steel or aluminum or any derivatives from that. Now, the ambassador of Canada to the United States, Kirsten Hillman, had this to say before the proclamation was made.
Canada's position is that these tariffs are not justified. We have an agreement, the USMCA, this CUSMA, that has a zero tariff profile for Canada in these areas. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a way to address the U.S. concerns around some of the global issues around these commodities, where there's overproduced and dumped product around the world that's hurting Canada as much as it's hurting the United States. So we're working it through. It's going to take a bit of time, but we had positive conversations. I think we both came out feeling good.
No word on how they're feeling right now, but this is something that President Trump did in his first time in the White House. There were tariffs on steel and aluminum. In the end, they renegotiated NAFTA, which is now, we understand, USMCA or CUSMA if you're in Canada. Is that going to be the end product here? We're not sure, but we do know, according to the United Steelworkers Union National Director, Marty Warren, he says some places are on the verge of collapse, and he is suggesting that all levels of government still try to push Canadian companies to try to buy Canadian-made steel and aluminum, and hopefully that helps them tread water during these uncertain times. Back to you two.
Yeah, uncertain indeed. Phil Perkins live in our newsroom. Thanks, Phil. 5:54, 28 degrees out there. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, coming up, we're going to tell you why coffee may help women as they age, at least according to a new study. Diabetes Canada is out with a warning about fraudulent products being marketed on social media.
Yeah, the charity says it's seen a spike in calls and emails from people with diabetes who saw or purchased bogus medicines or counterfeit blood glucose monitors. The CEO of Diabetes Canada tells CP24 more and more misinformation, myths, and scams related to diabetes are circulating online.
We've seen a real surge since the beginning of the year, and every time we get one of the platforms to take it down, another just pops up. And as you said, in fact, from the beginning of the year, we've had about 300 calls of people who are wondering about this, or unfortunately who have bought something and realize it doesn't work.
Well, Diabetes Canada says that it does not endorse any medical products, and any ads or claims of an endorsement are false.
Well, a new study suggests a cup of coffee a day may help women as they age.
Researchers found women in their 50s who drank caffeinated coffee daily were more likely to reach older age free from major chronic diseases and with good cognitive, physical, and mental health. The findings are based on data from 47,000 women who were followed over a 30-year period. The apparent benefits were only found in caffeinated coffee and not decaf or tea. The lead author says that the study is observational and it's possible that other variables are at play.
So interesting. Well, the Blue Jays, they're looking for their 6th win in a row when they open a series against the Phillies tonight.
Hard hit ball and fair down into the corner.
Well, the Jays are on a bit of a hot streak, winning 5 in a row, including a sweep of the Oakland A's. Right-hander Bowden Francis will be on the mound for the Jays, while left-hander Christopher Sanchez will pitch for the Phillies.
It's 5:59, 28 degrees, feeling more like 29. Hopefully you get to enjoy this gorgeous weather tonight. You're watching Toronto's Breaking News, CP24.
Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.